Who first told you to cover up? What if the truth is being bare in nature isn't shameful at all? It's healing, it reconnects you to your body and to the natural world. Welcome back to Hiking Without a Stitch. Get naked, be free, and be kind. I'll share my journey into naturism, stories from the trail, and conversations with others who have found freedom in the open air. How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to Hiking Without a Stitch. I'm John, your host, and today's episode is really about friendship, growth, and the many ways people connect with nature, even when, those paths look different. I'm sitting down with my best friend, Robert. Robert's an amazing person, an accomplished hunter and outdoorsman. He's someone who continually pushes me to go farther, stay out longer, and experience wild places more fully. He's my hunting partner, my friend, and someone I deeply respect and admire. He carries a real passion for public lands, not just for enjoyment, but understanding how to move through them responsibly wherever he happens to be. And in this conversation, that passion really shines through. One thing I've always respected about Robert is his willingness to be open, honest, and vulnerable. And that kind of authenticity is powerful, and it's what makes conversations like these so meaningful. Over the years, we've shared many miles of trails on hunts, backpacking trips, and just time spent in nature together. Some of the most meaningful outdoor memories and views have happened alongside this man. Robert isn't a naturist, and nude hiking really isn't his thing, but he's been present for moments that have shaped my journey, from being there for the first time I chose to hike naked in front of someone else, to shared experiences that challenge assumptions about comfort, freedom, and personal choice. So today's conversation moves through a lot of ground, from hunting culture to community to conservation to body image and personal growth, and basically how stepping outside comfort zones can shape who we become. Also, before we get into this, I need to say that we are recording this episode in my backyard, so throughout the recording you'll hear cars and planes go by. And towards the very end of the recording, my neighbor is working in his garage, and that's okay. We wanted to sit out under the stars while we recorded, and we have to kind of work with the space that's available to us. So I hope you enjoy this conversation, even though it's a little less about nudity and naked hiking and more about shared experiences and shared love of the outdoor spaces. Enjoy. Before we get really into anything, I want people to understand who you are and how basically we met. So do you want to take us through how we met and that whole situation?
Yeah, I'd love to. Basically I was like an adult onset hunter, and I was looking for a community of like-minded hunting individuals. Didn't have a lot of friends in my town that hunted, and so kind of around the COVID era I got into this podcast, some local guys that are into hunting, and I just kind of reached out to them like, hey, how do I build community, or like, how'd you guys build a good group of friends? And they kind of said some similar things. Just go out there and kind of promote hunting, and you'll find your community, kind of thing. And they ended up posting it on their Instagram story, like, hey, this guy, and they put on my Instagram handle, lives in this general region, would anybody like to meet up, chat, talk hunting or whatever? And you happen to be one of the 5 or 6 guys that responded, and really the only one that wasn't looking for a handout in a way, 'cause I get a lot of people that responded thought that I was good friends with them, the podcasters, and they wanted a connection to them through me. So some of them kind of fizzled out, but there we go. The sober hunter reached out to me, and I was super excited. And I feel like we just kind of bonded really well and had like similar interests, and felt like we could talk pretty fluidly about a lot of different things, not just hunting, which was super cool. Had a lot of the same ideals about like public land use, and kind of both dads, with similar age kids too, both married. I felt like just a lot of commonalities. Unfortunately, we lived on the opposite sides of the state, which was kind of a bummer. So anyway, we made it a point to meet up, and we were chatting a bunch through Instagram and then text messages and phone calls, and maybe some faxes as well. Not sure about that. Anyway, so it was a little odd meeting somebody on Instagram and say, hey, let's go out to the woods where no one else is around, and, cross your fingers, neither of us are serial killers. The likelihood that both of us were, I think, is like very slim, but it worked out. We didn't kill each other, and we ended up meeting little town. Was kind of in between where I lived and where you lived, close to where we were going. And oddly enough, we kind of joked around about it. The street we met on for the very first time was Seaman Street, Seamen Street. So obviously there's got to be a joke in there about two guys meeting on the internet. And yeah, it was a good time. And so we kind of both went in there blind, like feeling each other out, both kind of new to bear hunting. And yeah, I just had a great time, and I felt like we really connected, and obviously stayed in touch and did a bunch of trips after that as well. And then yeah, I felt like we were really bonded and just like really getting close, and I loved that. And it's so cool. Like, you're a big inspiration for me, like as a parent, as a person, motivating me to get out. And so I'm just like super thankful for that. And here we are in your backyard.
Thank you, man.
On this podcast, dude. I'm super excited.
I am super jacked that you're here with me, and right back at you, really. Like, you inspire me as a dad, a man, really as a woodsman and hunter. You're very accomplished, and I got to like kind of split my teeth on the outdoors and spending time out in nature with you, building those skills. So it's cool to see where we started, because when we started, I didn't have the gear. We were talking about this earlier.
Yeah.
Didn't have the gear.
Froze our butt off first time we went out.
Went on backpacking hikes that we probably, were underprepared for.
Highly motivated, underprepared as gear wise. But that's okay.
We just did it. You were saying that like a coworker or a friend was like, where are you going this weekend? Isn't it going to be cold or snowing?
Yeah. Well, we'll figure it out.
Yeah. I mean, so to have you here, and you've been a part of my sobriety journey, and
same for you.
Yeah. And really getting comfortable in the woods and getting comfortable hunting and kind of figuring out what I wanted to do, in the outdoor space. Mm-hmm. And then me moving, and you still supporting this kind of new iteration of me, or adding this into the iteration of me. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I appreciate that you're one of the real ones that stuck around and weren't like, this dude's weird as fuck, I'm out.
I mean, you are, but that's all right. Who isn't? So I'm also weird, so.
Yeah, dude, and I think that's why we bonded.
Well, and I also think it was like really cool that we both were sort of in our infancy of developing what we wanted to do, but both bringing unique skill sets that kind of lent to supporting each other, which was really cool. Like, we were both learning and growing together in a community that's not often super welcoming, unfortunately. Like, I think there's this big narrative, especially in the hunting community, of like, we need to recruit hunters and hunter numbers are dwindling, and totally agree with that, right? Like, you want people learning about it, enjoying it, having it become important to them, so they will support it.
Exactly.
Either financially, politically, just socially, right? We want people out advocating for public lands, hunting rights, this, that, and the third. On the other side of that, it feels as if it can be a not super inviting space starting out. I feel like there's this expectation, especially if you hit a certain age, like we're kind of not youth hunters, obviously, and there's a lot of opportunity for youth hunters. Love that. I'd love to see even more of that. But I feel like for kind of our age, not having a group already, it's harder to get into it.
Yeah.
It
Well,
can be kind of alienating, and
everyone seems to kind of have their core friend group figured
yeah,
out and like their spots to go figured out. And there's a
yeah,
lot
yeah,
of
yeah.
gatekeeping of,
Mm-hmm.
well, it's us and those people, and we
Right, right,
don't
right.
share. We don't share, our
Yeah.
locations with other people, which is hysterical to me because sure, you can share where you're going hunting, but then it's up to me to get there, drive there, buy the hunting
Mm-hmm.
tag, do the scouting, walk around and find what I'm looking for, and that's a pain in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be dedicated to go and do it.
Yeah, and I totally get, people have these spots that are super important to them, and maybe this is a sacred space even to them, and
Mm-hmm.
they don't want a million people running through there. Totally get that. I just feel as if there should be more opportunities for hunters to come together, to learn and share. There are some mentorship programs, and I just love to see more of that and more of that space, and really thankful for us being able to connect the way we did. Just a real kind of a happenstance. It worked out. Maybe it was the universe bringing us together or
Yeah,
something,
dude.
and just really thankful for that. So, yeah.
Well, it's interesting too, the connection parallels. I mean, between like the hunting community and the hiking community, and as a third layer, like the nude hiking community.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Nude hunting community. There you
nude
go.
hunting community.
There you go.
There probably is a nude hunting
Yeah.
group. If there's a nude hunting group and you know of them or you
Reach
listen,
out.
yeah, reach out. I want to know. I want to talk to you.
I'll help you pack out.
Yeah. There is that overlap of shared love for public spaces and shared love for the resource, which is the land and the animals and the
Mm-hmm.
experience you get to go out and do. And I see parallels in those two communities of naked hikers slash hikers slash hunters slash
Mm-hmm.
hikers, because there are hunters that are nudists. We'll talk about it later in the podcast, but we spoke to a naturist at Tank Verde Falls.
Yeah, the elk hunter.
The elk hunter. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like, so these communities overlap, and yeah, I guess that's why I'm excited to have you on today, is because of that overlap and your passion for public lands and keeping them clean. Because you've done trail cleanups
Mm-hmm.
and trail maintenance programs
Mm-hmm.
back in Washington State.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to talk about those a little bit? What have you done, and kind of what does that look like?
Yeah, yeah. I think I'm a hunter, and I'm a strong like public lands advocate, and I feel as if you are out using the lands responsibly and ethically, like it's one space for many people, right? Like a land of many uses, I think, is the
Mm-hmm.
slogan that the Forest Service uses, and I truly believe that. If you want to be out there nudist recreating, that's awesome. If you want to be out there hunting, like, you better have your tags and know the regs and be safe and all of that. But hey, I love that there's a space for that. So I felt like, hey, I'm utilizing these spaces. I want to do something to give back, because I see the value of having these amazing trail systems and websites that talk about trail conditions and usage reports, and seeing, hey, is there going to be a lot of people there? Because I do want to be respectful of what everybody's doing. I recognize that not all hikers are pro hunting, and maybe not all hunters are pro nudist
Mm-hmm.
hikers. There's Venn diagrams in life, and not everybody overlaps. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So anyway, I just wanted to do my part, and hopefully engage in a lot of conversations with maybe hikers and backpackers that don't have a lot of opportunities to interact with hunters. And so, yeah, I've been on quite a few trail cleanups, and I love them. Really love the organizations that are out doing that. And they look different. Every trip is different. There's kind of a mission. You start with a safety brief. You kind of go over what your plan is. It might be a log out. So if there's like a heavy winter and there's a bunch of fell trees on the trails, we'll go help clear them out. And if we're in the national forest, we can't use any gas equipment. So we do all hand saws, hand drills, all that, which is really cool and kind of an added interesting experience, or an added element to this kind of experience. And it's going out, regrading trails. If there's bridges that are out, you help fix them, and it's really cool. It's all, or not all, it's mostly volunteer. There are some paid trail crew leaders that get to do that full time. Super cool. But I did notice, in chatting with people, like, hey, like to ask them, well, why do you do this? Or, what's your motivation? Thanks for being here. Love that. And unfortunately, in having conversations with folks, there was kind of like this negative connotation of hunters, and hearing some kind of commentary and just statements about, oh yeah, here comes some hunters, look out, they're going to shoot us, kind of thing. And I was like, dang, and originally I just wanted to like keep my mouth quiet and not really say anything, because here I am kind of newer to this group, didn't want to be alienated, or even though we're all here to support public lands, right?
Exactly.
But I said, no, let's kind of lean into this, right? I'm feeling uncomfortable about this, and I want to figure out why, like assume positive intent. And basically everybody that I've been able to have a conversation with, it's been really cool to say, hey, we're all kind of using this space with enjoyment, right? We're all going out and having these amazing experiences, whether you do it with a backpack for 5 days or I do it with a backpack for 5 days and I just happen to have a rifle with me. I think that's a great experience. And then, explaining that in conversation, right, that hunters typically, or at least ethical hunters as I describe it, aren't like bloodthirsty people out there just poaching everything they see, and recognizing that I love to be able to provide for my family, myself, like my friends, my community, like some ethically harvested, free range, wild game meat, which is super nutritious, enjoyable, and just I have like a deeper respect, I believe, for this animal that I have harvested. Just having that incredible level of like thankfulness and gratitude that this animal gave their life so it could nourish my body, my family's body, and being able to utilize all that I can of that animal is just a really an emotional experience, that I don't take lightly, and I hope I never do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a heavy moment.
Yeah, and I think it's a really great conversation to have with my children at home, like, hey, where does your food come from? And let's talk about that. And I think it's a great thing to be connected as closely as you can to your food source.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And luckily we live in a country with a North American model that allows for folks to go out and be a part of the food source in a really intimate way.
Yeah, and the way that the Fish and Game in the States are supposed to, manage game is using hunters as part of the game management program.
100%.
To cull older, more mature animals to allow room for younger animals to mature and have a healthier population and less inbreeding.
Exactly. And, with the Pittman-Robertson Act as well, like, hunters and anglers, we pay like a mandatory tax to help support habitat restoration, like game management programs as well, that I think is really cool. Like, if I know that this money is going to support the places and spaces that I'm actively using, I'm all for it. I'd actually love to see that expanded to other communities as well.
Well, yeah, and I think too, part of the reason why I started this podcast is to have conversations like this, to show the parallels and show that we are a multi-use, public lands are for everyone. It's not just hunters, not just bicyclists, bird watchers. It's all of us. And we need to learn to, traverse that landscape in a respectful, coexistent relationship with each other. And a lot of what you're saying from the hunter's perspective, like the naturist, nudist, nude outdoor recreation, I see so many parallels, like the misrepresentation or the thoughts about hunters.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the hunters are coming. Oh, the nudist, the freaks, the naked freaks,
Oh yeah,
the hippies,
them goofballs with no clothes.
yeah. And it's like you have to go and educate people on.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we're not out here swinging, swapping wives, like I don't know, masturbating out in public. We're hiking.
The lion's share of the communities,
Yeah.
right, are not doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's like this big misrepresentation because
100%.
as soon as someone thinks of it, they go, they're out there naked. Oh, they're doing something messed up.
Right. With that connection between, well, like, nudist is sexual, or like, yeah. Yeah, it's not always that. And just kind of touching back a little bit on what you said about how there's multiple people, like, using these spaces, invested in their hobby is such a cool, like, mirror for the world, right? Like, you in a day will interact with people that have various opinions. Most of them are probably different from yours.
Exactly.
And let's have a conversation, folks. Like, let's figure out why you're so passionate about X, Y, or Z, and maybe we'll find some parallels. You know what I mean? Like, I try to think about that in my profession and parenting. Like, ooh, I'm feeling some kind of way about this. Like, why is that? And let's kind of figure it out together, kind of thing.
Yeah, kind of being more curious with your
stay
your
curious.
thoughts.
Yeah.
I have a question. Before me, like going to Tank Verde and hiking around naked, did you have any reference point to nude recreation or nudism or?
Yeah, slightly, like very little. My stepmom's German, actually from Germany, so we had gone to, I was very blessed. Unfortunately, some members of her family had passed away, but in that process, we were able to afford to go to Germany to visit 2 different times, which was really cool. And there, actually, there's, nudity is not seen as, at least when I was there, it could be different now, I don't know, but nudity was not seen as sexual there. You'd go to the park, just a city park, maybe by the Rhine River or whatever, and along the river you'd see individuals that were naked. I mean, and it wasn't really seen as sexual, We went to a beach, and there was an area that was designated, clothing required, and very clearly marked after this section, clothing optional, and it was in German, so I had to kind of like figure it out what it was saying, but it was cool. It's like, why not? Like, we're all born with the bodies that we're born with, and we should be very thankful that we have them, and our bodies can do amazing things, and let's celebrate that. And actually, where I went to college, they did a naked mile run every year.
Oh, that's badass.
Which was really cool. And it was during Halloween. And so a lot of folks would do it with a jack-o'-lantern on their head.
That's super
and
cool.
then
I love that.
Yeah, it's fun. And it sort of like transitioned to the nearly naked mile after it got really popular.
Yeah.
But there were definitely some rebels there that were not quite nearly naked, and that's cool. And actually, that same town had a law, like, you could leave your house topless and be topless in public as long as you left your house that way.
For women?
Yeah, either way.
Anyone.
Yeah, men, women, however you identify. Yeah. So that was kind of fun, and like, you'd be out there disc golfing, and maybe you'd see some people that were, at least topless. And
that's so fascinating.
Yeah, it was kind of a hippier town, and I just felt like that, the energy there, and it was a lot of just all kinds of people coming together. So
how old were you when you went to Germany and saw the people on the river and stuff?
Yeah. We, like I said, we went twice, and it was both in high school. So kind of a really like eye-opening experience. Just, I mean, traveling was not a thing that we did really in general, outside of the state we lived in. And so that was like a really eye-opening experience for me, just getting different cultural experiences, and it was cool, and just seeing that, and it was just kind of explained to me that, hey, this is people do, and there were like bathhouses, like inside bathhouses and saunas as well, like steam rooms. People were, naked. It just, I don't know. It just seemed not different.
Was it hard to, as an American teenage boy with everything that we absorbed growing up, was it hard going into a different culture and seeing this and going, okay, well, no, they're not, this is not something sexual. This is we're just sitting in the sauna, or we're just down by the river, Was that hard?
Yeah. No. I thought it was going to be, or kind of like, oh man, like, how do I act? Like, what do I do with my hands kind of thing, What if I, get an erection or something, because, hey, I'm a high school boy and there's a naked women potentially, like, sign me up kind of thing. But because of the culture of it, and because it wasn't sexualized in any way, and it was just like, oh, this is what we're doing, I didn't struggle with that as much as I thought I would originally. Which was cool, you know what I mean? Because it's very much like, you're just having a conversation with somebody, so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, I want to talk about Tank Verde Falls.
Yeah. Let's do it.
And that weekend that you came down, because before that, earlier in the year, when was this, 2 years ago? So that would have been 24,
something like that, yeah.
Yeah. So I had gone in 2022 when I first moved down here. And I think I sent you a picture or something, like, with me in the sign. Or I told you, I just went, like, to the nude beach and I stripped off and, like, sat in this pool. It was badass.
Yeah.
And you were, like, super supportive. So it's funny. It's funny thinking about it now, because I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm just going to tell my best friend Robert. He won't care. And you didn't care. But I was like, oh, Robert didn't care. So no one else in my life is going to give a shit. And then I started sharing. I'm like, oh, shit.
Well,
they kind of
let's read the room here, John.
Yeah, that's a little different than Robert's reaction. So I've had mixed reactions, but your reaction was probably the best. So just to recap that weekend, you flew down here. I picked you up in Phoenix, and we drove back here to home, and we were out. Excuse me. Actually, I'm going to pause this for a second and just open my...
Pause for a not sponsored event.
We're going to pause for a non-sponsored sip of Athletic Brewing Run Wild. It is a non-alcoholic beer.
You've inspired me, sir.
We have been drinking this since our relationship. I think every outing we've gone.
Yeah, prost, dude.
Cheers, dude.
Yeah, cheersy.
Yeah, I mean, we drove here and then we were doing a quail hunt. You got a out-of-state hunting license.
Quail and like jackrabbit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the week leading up to that, my brother and I were out seeing quail and jackrabbit all over. And then you came, and it starts raining.
Raining, dude. I brought the rain with me.
Yeah. We didn't see any quail. We might have seen one jackrabbit. And that last day, it was kind of like, we've been hiking around.
We were hunting hard, dude. I think I got like 30,000 steps day one.
We've hunted bear hunts that were less walking than that.
Yeah, we were committed to these quails.
Yeah, we didn't get nothing.
Yeah. Hey, I saw a couple.
Yeah. We saw a couple. That was great. But then it was like time to change gears. And we were like, hey, on the last day, I want to show you Tank Verde Falls. So we cruised down to Tank Verde Falls. Were you like nervous at all heading out there?
Okay, I wasn't nervous for other people, but I was nervous for myself. So like just... Yeah, being open, like I've really struggled with like body image issues, and I don't know if if that's pretty common with other males or it's just not talked about, but yeah, I have really struggled with like body image issues and like body dysmorphia and stuff like that, and just, so yeah, like thinking about that, I'm like, oh man, like I'm really happy and supportive for you, and I love that is a space, but kind of feeling like excited and also uncomfortable
So it brings up some shit for you.
at the same time. Yeah. And so I was like, man, I love this. Like, I want to support you and I want to go for me too. I'm just curious. And what I liked was that it was clothing optional. So it didn't feel like you had to get naked. You could kind of be in whatever comfort level you were open to. And not to jump ahead, but we saw some folks that were somewhat clothed. There were some folks that were totally naked and kind of in between, which I really liked, and it kind of made me feel comfortable to just go about it in your own way. And I think probably in the naturism experience, that's probably a model, right? I'm sure some people are fully naked and other people are kind of in between and getting comfortable and get their bearings, and I think that's really cool. To not feel like, oh, I have to do this or I'm not allowed here.
Some places are like that.
Yeah.
Some resorts are like, you have to be naked as soon as you walk in the door.
And totally get that for like those spaces and individuals
Safety
that are committed to that. Totally get that. But I feel like if it's something that you're kind of just curious about and you're not quite ready to commit, it is kind of cool to have that option.
The outdoors is is a great space to experience and experiment what feels good and what the sensation of being naked, even by yourself, is a powerful one, you know. It's freeing to go out there. So having a space like that is really great to be able to go and experience, whether you're in your underwear, fully clothed, or naked. I mean, that canyon's beautiful, and there's something magical about it. So to continue the story, I guess, we get to Tanque Verde. We hike down.
We do the clothing required port, like all of that.
We walk
portion
down,
of that,
And it's super funny because I remember walking with you, and I think I said something along the lines of like, hey man, if you're like cool with it, I feel like I want to get naked and just, you know, try this out with like other people. And you're like, whatever, man. Like, I'm not going to yuck your yum. I think it's exactly what you said. Like, I'm not going to like say that's weird because
dude,
that's what you're down with.
Hey, you do you. This is your passion, dude.
So I was like, oh, cool. I got the green light.
Oh, and you didn't need it from me, but I'm glad that I could like help you in that moment.
There's like that respect thing.
No, I appreciate
okay,
that.
You okay with this, man? And so you like kept walking a few paces, and I dropped my shorts, and like my tank top was off, and I was like, oh yeah, this is cool. And I took a step, and I was like, oh fuck. What if he's like not really down with this? And like, I don't have a best friend. After he gets on the plane, like, I'm blocking this guy's number.
Delete. Yeah, dude, you're cool, but I'm not.
You really like hiking.
Oh God. Well, luckily he moved, or else this would be awkward.
No, it was like, it literally crossed my mind. I'm like, oh man, what if, I don't know really what he's thinking. And we have, like we were talking this weekend, we have these moments where we have a narrative in our head.
Oh, yeah.
Creating a narrative
about
of
the tip signature.
Yeah. Okay. Backstory on the tip signature. When he came down from Phoenix, we stopped at this coffee joint, and we were in the drive-thru, so he handed me his debit card. I paid with his debit card. And then when she handed it back, I just signed and then tipped.
Thankfully, you tipped, dog, or we would have had an issue.
And I was like, oh, shoot. Because you were like, hey, man, that's my car. I'm like, oh, yeah, duh, sorry, bro. But then after that, I continually, like for the next 2 years, basically, oh, man, I feel so bad I did that. He probably thinks I'm an asshole for doing that. And I was stuck up on it. And I brought it up to you yesterday, and you're like, oh, I don't even think about it.
Yeah, like I remembered the coffee spot. I remember stopping, but yeah, the you signing for it, that didn't resonate with me. But it's funny that we have these narratives in our head, like you were saying, and oh yeah, God. And I wonder even if that, like, I thought about that a little bit about, Tanque Verde Falls. Like when we were hiking yesterday, I was kind of reflecting back on that and kind of thinking, okay, we're going to talk about this on the podcast, and like speaking of narratives, like, am I telling a story that isn't real? Like, I'm telling it in my head, but I don't know if that's what other people are thinking. And I also think, like, at Tank Verde, I don't have a huge, like, database to pull this from, but it seems very much like people are very accepting and kind of there for them, not for other people. And so it shouldn't matter at all what other people think about my body, but I also shouldn't be, like, making choices based on what other people think. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's got to feel good to you and feel right to your body.
Yeah, so just, like, thinking about those narratives and keeping those in check, like, hey, do I want to do this? Yes or no? If I do, then let's do it, kind of thing,
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, so we all have this narrative going on, and the narrative, when I stripped down behind you, I was like, oh my God, he's going to think I'm a freak. Like, this is going to be super awkward. And I was kind of like, well, I can't put my shorts back on because he's already seen me fucking
tried
naked.
that one out.
Yeah, I'm like, well, I guess I'm going to be naked the rest of this trip. So we continue walking, get up to the beach, and there's kind of a couple people sitting around.
Yeah.
And it wasn't awkward. I mean, did you feel awkward once I took my shorts off maybe for a second? Or were you like, oh, this is naked dude?
It wasn't awkward when we were walking, because we were walking. I didn't have to, like, look back at you. And I was also really kind of thinking about actually, like, well, do I say hello to these people? Do I not? Because they're naked and I wasn't naked at that point. And I was like, oh, gall, are they going to, like, be offended that I'm not naked in the clothing optional? But I'm like, no, it's clothing optional. Like, and also, if you've never been, it's very clearly marked. Like, hey, you may encounter nude hikers, right? There's multiple signs on every way you could enter this trail.
Yep.
And even on the trail, it's very clearly posted. So, yeah, just out of, like, respect for a space that I'm not super comfortable with. But then I'm like, they're out here, and, like, there's other people too. If they didn't want somebody to say hello to them, like, they'd probably just be at home.
They go, like, to
or
a different area.
Away, not
away by themselves.
In a somewhat public space, So that I was just kind of working through, and I wasn't really worried about what your body was doing back there. I'm working through my head of, like, well, how do I engage with these folks?
Oh, that's funny. Because
am I gonna get clothing optional? I was thinking about that, but it wasn't weird for me, like, in you, until we sat down and we were, like, right next to each other.
I was just gonna say that because there was no good way to sit, and I sat across from you, and I was like, oh, do I cross my legs? Wait, do I sit side saddle? Or do I sit with, like, my legs spread and just my, like, junk facing you? And I think that's what I ended up doing because, like, I couldn't sit and turn my head to you.
Yeah.
Well, I guess he's just going to see my junk.
Yeah, and it was, like, kind of, like, make eye contact, don't look down kind of thing. But ultimately, like...
You look down.
You just got to get it out of the way, And it wasn't, like, an uncomfort level where I was like, I don't want to be here. It wasn't that. It was just like... Well, I guess he's ready for me to see his penis if it's out. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yes, he's cool with it.
Yeah, and, like, other people are cool. So if it was uncomfortable, it didn't last long, and just hanging out. And we were talking, too. It's not like I was sitting there just staring. We were engaging, kind of chopping it up like we are now, and kind of talking about the space and, like, the experiences you've had there. And, it didn't feel weird. And I didn't get totally naked that trip, but I did, like, take some of my clothes off, and it felt good. And before this, like, before I came down, I've been really getting into, like, grounding and thinking about, like, being barefoot out in the garden. And I even did some, like, naked gardening. I think I shared that with you. I can't remember if that was before or after.
That was after, because you got a sunburn. You're like, look what I got for going outside.
I'm a little pale, so I got to be careful. But
what was naked gardening like?
Yeah, I liked it. Because I was doing the grounding thing, so I was, like, barefoot and getting into, like, sun and vitamin D and just kind of thinking about, like, connecting with earth. Went on some hikes barefoot. That was kind of a cool experience. So not that I was I didn't feel I was like leaning towards that, but just wanting to be like more connected
in the same vein
with nature. Yeah. And so, yeah, so it wasn't weird. Yeah, I don't. Oh, how was naked gardening?
Yeah, we like segued.
Yeah, I'll just finish
bounce
that.
over it real
Yeah,
quick.
naked gardening was cool. I was out there like saying sweet nothings to my blueberries, and I like being barefoot in the garden because like that's one of my happy spaces, and
Mm-hmm.
I love being out there and just kind of doing my thing and getting the sun. Where I live, it doesn't sun a ton, so
Yeah.
it felt good, and just kind of I think maybe a motivation, and yeah, I left Tank Verde feeling differently, but we can get to that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, we're gonna jump back.
Yes.
We're talking on the rock, and then this guy,
What was his name? Ray or something? I feel like it was a Ray.
Ray. I think we'll call him Ray.
I'm not sure. What's
we
up,
don't,
Ray?
we don't know your name, but
If you're
out there,
listening,
Ray,
dude, good to see you.
you talked to me and my buddy Robert about elk hunting. Yeah, this guy walks over and he goes, "Hey guys, there's a tortoise over here if you want to see it."
Yeah,
and
in this little cove.
yeah,
kind of
in
thing.
like this little cove kind of around the corner from us. So I just hop up all naked, like, yeah, let's go see the tortoise.
And Ray, we're calling him Ray. He was naked too. He had a fanny pack and all of that. So just to set the scene.
Yeah, so I'm following Ray, and kind of halfway around the corner, I go, wait, is Robert following me? Am I just walking around the corner with this naked dude? There better be a tortoise back here. If there's not a tortoise, I'm going to be real pissed off.
That's a code name you were thinking.
Yeah. Luckily, there was a tortoise, and Robert came around too, so all good there. And we were talking about the tortoise, and then the dude, like, whips out his phone and was like, I got to show you my brother. He got this elk up north and telling us all these hunting stories, and it was cool. But it just goes to show you that, like, naturism and nudism doesn't know, like, boundary of, conservative or not conservative. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It doesn't, when you strip your clothes off, you're shedding those labels and those masks and like everything you carry.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really cool to interact with people like Ray. I would have never really talked to you.
Yeah.
And here we are.
He was a cool dude.
Yeah. We're in the bottom of a canyon naked talking about hunting.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah, and he was pulling out his phone, and we were talking about cotamundis, and he was saying, oh yeah, I think I seen one over here, and he showed us a bunch of pictures of his house,
Hella
like,
pictures
of animals and stuff that he's seen out in the desert and by his house and on his travels and stuff, and it was really cool. Like, not only did we all have this kind of shared interest to connect with nature in an intimate way, also had like a real big love of animals. And
Yeah, and then like I did have a question. Did going to Tank Verde change how you saw me in any way?
no, not how I saw you.
Okay.
Yeah, like you were telling me about your new like hobby and interest, and I was like, yeah, I'm not super familiar with that. And I was even wondering, like, the legalities of it, even. Like, is that cool? That's just something I'm not super familiar with. But I knew at the Tank Verde you were explaining it to me and setting the stage.
Yeah, it's like at Tank Verde, it's a tolerated nudity.
Yeah.
So like it's been going on forever.
Mm-hmm.
It's not legal. Like the cops could still, if they wanted to, come down and ticket you for being nude, but they don't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And when people are acting correctly and not causing a problem or causing a scene, there's no real complaints or any, stuff going on that would cause a legal issue, I guess,
Yeah, and it just gets back to being an ethical
Yeah.
recreator
Yeah.
of public land, right? Like, that all flows in again.
Were you thinking of, like, I think we talked on the way to the airport. You said that if I wasn't there, you might have gone naked. What did you mean by that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was back to, like, me really struggling with, like, body image issues and, like, not really like struggling personally, like looking at my body, and then let alone like opening that up to
For
somebody else I know.
yeah,
And yeah, and it kind of ebbs and flows. Like in some seasons of my life, it's worse, and other times it's not as impactful. And that's just something I've kind of always dealt with. And yeah, so I think maybe that was what I meant, you know?
yeah.
I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I think sometimes it's like really cool to share that experience with other people, and other times maybe it's easier to just feel it out by yourself first to see your like comfort level.
Well, yeah, and every body is different, and every person's different.
Yeah.
And everyone's process and journey getting to that end point looks different, and there's no right or wrong way. I mean, we're such complicated animals.
Oh, we're complicated houseplants, dude.
Yeah, it's wild. All that we have to do.
Mm-hmm. And it's funny too. Like, this is something I've always like dealt with. I always like am able to give others more grace than I'm able to give myself.
Yeah,
that's something I've in like many facets of my life, like being a recovering perfectionist, right? That's what I call myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I would never truly like see somebody there and say, oh, your body isn't appropriate for this space. But that's sort of what I tell myself. And so I've been working on a lot of like, hey, give yourself the same grace you at least give others.
Hell yeah.
You know, if not more, really. But
that's hard because our inner voice is so harsh. I also have a harsh inner voice. I would never say half the things that I say to myself to a stranger, and yet in my head I'm just clubbing myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's all part of the journey. So.
Yeah,
and I think like how cool is that there's a space for you to really like develop confidence in many ways. Like, hey, first off, this is an interest of mine. Let me research this. Okay, now I have a goal. Let me reach this goal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, how do I feel now that I've met this goal? All right, am I wanting to keep going, or maybe it's not for me? And so, what a cool space for you and kind of this journey that you're on about like rediscovering. And like back to your question about did I think of you or look at you differently?
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, it was a thing that you knew a lot more about that I wasn't familiar with, but I think it's really cool. I like it when people have passions. Like, even if they're not my passions, I think it's so cool when people do have passions. And so, like, hearing you talk about it, I could tell you were, like, really interested in this and was going at it for all the right reasons, you know, self-discovery, self-exploration, like different ways to connect with nature. Like, these are all things that, you know, strike you, you know. And yeah, I almost worried like, oh, are we not going to have as much to talk about, you know?
Yeah.
Like, but I feel like our connection, while it maybe started off around hunting, went so much deeper than that. So it's not like, oh, now you're into naturism.
Yeah.
We can't talk
like
anymore.
Peace out. I'm a different version.
Yeah. And I think even at the very beginning of this journey, you've always been talking about like ethical use and like reaching out and trying to figure out like the legalities of it, and still like operating within these public spaces. So even though like our activity is different, we're still like approaching our different scenarios kind of in the same mindset.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I feel the exact same way, because that was a concern of mine, is like, oh, okay, so I'm sharing this now with the people I care about. Does that drive a wedge between my friends or family? Like, oh, you're so different now. Don't get me wrong. I will turkey hunt, you know, till the cows come home. I will fly up to Washington and do bear hunts with you, do backpacking trips. That is badass. But there's also this other section now too, to me, that's like, oh yeah, we do this as well.
Yeah.
And like the two can be true at the same time. You know, multifaceted.
Yeah. I mean, yesterday was a good example. I mean, we were hiking, we were kind of doing our desert exploring like we've done before. And, you incorporated your naturism element where you stripped down and
Got some sun.
got some sun, and
Got a pick.
we still got to do what we were doing,
Yeah.
Still, we were both getting joy from our kind of individual goals or missions.
So you spoke about the values that we both, the combined values that we both share around these spaces. Because we both kind of grew up in a hunting culture, hunting background,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that context matters. What values did you grow up with about being like outdoors or spending time outdoors?
Yeah, I think being outside in nature was just a big part of my childhood, and spent a ton of time with my granddad, and luckily I knew my great granddad as well, and we were able to spend like many weeks in the summer fishing and camping and hiking and exploring places, and that just lent itself to asking questions and having conversations about public space, and like always hearing, my granddad swear and complain and when we saw a litter or people dumping trash, and in these places that we found to be really beautiful and important to our family, like we've been coming to these places for as long as we've lived in this space, and so that just kind of set the tone of like, hey, litter bugs, right? We're not doing that. And I was always really passionate about that, and taking care of nature and really like appreciating it. And my granddad, he taught me how to fly fish at a pretty young age. And again, like my granddad is just a huge like person in my life, especially as it relates to the outdoors. And he taught me how to fish and like take care of the fish. And okay, you've caught this fish, now we need to learn to clean it and care and the harvest of this animal, and to just respect the natures and the spaces, or the animals and the places, and so that just kind of started it. And yeah, my dad he's an elk hunter, and I didn't go with him a ton when I was younger, but I did go a couple times, and it was just a different experience than I thought. They were all very like respectful of the animals and in the land, nothing like that. But it was a lot of like road hunting kind of, and that's what worked for them. And I'm not criticizing their strategy or approach, but I always felt like I want more. I don't know exactly. And at a younger age, I wasn't quite ready to articulate, I think, what I was looking for. But I was just like, that's not really it.
Yeah.
And so I stepped away from really like hunting of any kind for a really long time. And I just got really into like hiking and fishing, and stuck with the fly fishing. When I was in college, I was in a fly fishing club, and just really passionate about that space. I'm also like really passionate about firearms and the Second Amendment, and kind of like seeing, hey, outside, have guns, like maybe let's give this hunting thing a try again. But now I'm an adult, and I haven't like had this 20 years of experience as a hunter, and like built up my friend group around that. And so really feeling like starting at ground zero, and in that learning process, learning a whole lot more about public land and the North American like game management, and we talked about like the Pittman-Robertson Act, and like how all of these different activities happen in the same space, and so that really like reinvigorated my passion to be a hunter, but also to be just an ethical caretaker of these lands, So and then becoming a father, thinking about like, how do I want these spaces to look for my kids' kids?
That's something I think about.
Are they going to be here?
Well, yeah, and if they're mistreated, whether that's hunters leaving trash when they go
Yeah,
target
terrible.
shooting,
Yep.
or I've seen out here in the BLM land, we go out and pick up hunters leaving their garbage after deer camp. So there's
Yes.
these big camps, and they leave their garbage. We go pick up, and it's like, and same for hikers
Yeah.
using trails, throwing their cans or water or
Yeah. Finding mountain
stuff.
house
Yeah,
bags.
it's like you got to pick up and
fishing
keep it nice,
line.
because if we don't, we'll lose access
Yeah.
to these places. Also, I wanted to touch on one thing. You referenced road hunting. For anyone that doesn't know what road hunting is, it's a term hunters use to describe someone who drives in their car up and down like logging roads looking for, say, a deer or a bear up on a hillside, and then they'll go after that animal from that point. So they're not really actively like hiking up into hills and getting, in the backcountry. They're kind of driving logging roads or 2-track roads.
Yeah, they're not shooting them from the road.
Yeah, I just wanted
either.
to
good
clarify that.
clarification. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah. And so I think when I got into hunting, I was kind of thinking about, hey, I have a lot of hiking gear already. I've done some kind of backpack trips, but not a lot. And I said, well, how can I? Because the barrier of entry into hunting is expensive.
Yep.
It's an uphill climb to research, to learn about, but then also it's like there's just some specific gear that I didn't have and I had to purchase, right? And then I got to think about, okay, what do I want to do? I know what I didn't like. What do I want? And for me, I wanted this to be an experience, not just a harvest an animal, right? Like
It's not about the end product.
Yeah, I wanted the whole thing to be a learning and growing experience. And so I decided I'm just going to jump feet, head, butt first into backpack hunting and just started doing it.
And so we've hunted together a handful of times, and we've done a handful of backpacking trips together. And you have gone on solo backpacking overnight trips up into high alpine places.
Yeah,
What's it
multi-days,
like? Yeah, what's it like doing that by yourself and being alone in nature? Can you kind of describe that for the listeners and me?
Yeah, I mean, I'm being honest here, like it's scary at night by myself. And you may laugh if you're out there listening, and that's totally fine. But from my experience, like not having a ton of time by myself, not at a campground, but like in the wilderness, here I thought the woods were quiet at night, and they are so loud. So going at it by myself was out of necessity, I think. I think I would have enjoyed having, I loved when we went. It's such a great idea to be able to bounce ideas off of each other, safety, right? Lots of reasons.
Just knowing there's another human, like, hey, I'm in my tent and Robert's right there. So if a bear is ripping me out of my tent, at least he's going to hear me screaming, you know what I mean?
Yeah, at least he can write my story.
Yeah, he'll shoot through his tent to get that bear.
Yeah. So I went out on a few day trips by myself, just trying to get comfortable. And, I'm going to be real. It was kind of scary sometimes, like getting out in the woods and, okay, there is no one around here. I am 5 miles from my vehicle. I mean, I didn't have any satellite messenger at that point. So anybody listening, highly recommend safety first. Once I got it, it made me feel so much better.
That's what it is, safety first.
Reach out to, there's Garmin, there's Zolios. I'm sure there's a bunch of different ones. But for me, it just made me feel like, hey, if things really, really went sideways, I fell down and, broke my knee and I couldn't walk out anywhere. Keeping in mind, I'm typically in places where I don't see people for multiple days at a time. It just gave me a little bit more confidence. And also I could check in with my wife as well. I could send her a message in the morning and at night. Hey, I'm leaving camp. I'll check in. At night, hey, I got to camp. Check in.
Yeah, that's definitely a little Garmin, like inReach satellite.
Yeah, I have a little
satellite device.
Garmin inReach. And yeah. it makes, it's not a plug or whatever. Look into it if that works for you. But I think for where I'm at, there's never cell phone service.
I think around here for me, I think it'd be a good investment because, like, we went out on an adventure yesterday to go hike, and I got a flat tire on my truck, and we did not have cell phone service, and luckily we had my wife following us in a separate car. So we got that figured out. But,
Yeah.
like, moments like that, it's like you're kind of screwed.
Mm-hmm.
And especially if you're in a backcountry hunting or hiking experience where you're hurt or something's going majorly wrong, because usually when you're out in nature, it's like a catastrophic failure that's going to...
Mm-hmm. Mechanical injury
Yeah,
is going to
yeah.
take you out. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, I just kind of got to this point where I was like, here's the deal. This is my goal. Like, if you want to be a backpack hunter, you want to be a hunter in general. I was like, scared of being by myself, scared
Yep.
of being in the wilderness, like scared of success. Like, shoot, what do I do if I shoot an animal? Like, I've watched some YouTubes, I've read some books, like, and I realized very quickly after I harvested my first bear, it took a couple seasons, but I'm so thankful that I did not harvest one just out of dumb luck my first season or two, because I can tell you I was so ill prepared, and it just takes time, and especially like not having a mentor or someone to really like lead into you. I mean, you can
Exactly.
learn so much from the internet, but a lot of it is just like finding out what you need to have.
Well, yeah, you can read on the internet, like, oh, bears eat this and go here, but until it's so immersed in that process of understanding, oh, this animal travels to this corridor and eats these things at 9 a.m. or
Mhm.
whatever the time is.
Right.
And you are learning about the animal, you're learning about its food sources, you're learning about the water sources. I mean, really, you're immersed in nature,
Mm-hmm.
and you're connected to that whole process in a way that most people aren't.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, like, I love when we went out, right? I'm not discounting that in any way. I think that was so much joy and a lot of strengths and benefits to that. But I will say, like, when I'm out by myself, while it is lonely and it's less scary now, but certainly when I started, I was like scared, being by myself allows me to just focus in and dial in a way that I can't explain, because I don't have another person like to kind of have that decision fatigue. Should we go
Yep.
here? Should we go there?
Yep.
Nope. I'm just going. Do I want to wake up now? Yep. Do I want to stay out? Yep. Do I want to come back for lunch? Nope. Like, and when I, did harvest my first bear, like, I cried. I didn't cry right when it happened because I was so dialed in. But when I got back to the truck after that grueling, like, multi-trip pack out, and I was, like, leaving for the night, I found, like, a moment to text you. I found, like, a break in service on the way down. And, dude, after that, I cried.
Oh, man, that's
Like,
powerful.
I don't know if it was just, like, the adrenaline coming off, or, like, just feeling, like, multiple years going into this
You wanted
one
it. You
moment,
wanted
like,
this.
manifesting it, just visioning it, reading, just like this being my focus for years, and feeling like, golly, I think I'm gonna quit after year one, year two, just feeling like,
Yeah.
I'm in all the right places, I'm seeing all the right things, I'm seeing all the right sign, like, all I need is the bear, and like I said, I'm really thankful it didn't happen, because I do think while it was frustrating, it allowed me to learn more to be better prepared for the success. Because I definitely, like I said, wouldn't have been able to honor and respect the animal as much as I was able to having that experience now.
Yeah.
Or then.
Oh, man, that's super cool. I remember you texting me. I was working down towards Nogales, Arizona, delivering some stuff for the company I was working for then. And I got that text, and I was at this lady's door, and I was like, yes! Just like fist pumping. I'm like, oh, he finally did it. I'm so proud of him.
Mm-hmm.
I was so proud of you. It's really cool to see you mature and kind of get your wings, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like watching you from the first time we met on that dirt road to hiking up into like godforsaken avalanche chutes and stickle bricker bushes.
Top of the mountains in a snowstorm.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm really blessed to have shared so many different trails and adventures with you.
Yeah,
because
for
I've
sure.
learned so much.
And more to come.
Oh,
More
dude.
to come.
Oh, dude. Totally.
Yeah. I mean, tomorrow.
Yeah. I mean, like, this last summer, August,
Mm-hmm.
I think I came up in August.
Yeah. Yeah. It must have been August or September. No, probably August. Yeah.
Yeah, well, one of the hikes that we just went on was a high alpine lake hike.
Mm-hmm.
I came over, stayed at your house, and then we headed to the trailhead. And I'd never been there. That was freaking really pretty.
Mm-hmm.
The North Cascades, I'm not going to say where it is, but it was really, really pretty. How long of a hike was that?
Ooh, I mean, we definitely extended it, but I think it's like 4 or 5 miles, and then I think we went 7.
Yeah, so it was like 7 miles, but then we had to extend it because we got up there.
Oh, and then the
the
we
lake
went down. Yeah,
and we
I
were like,
forgot
oh, we
about
have
that
to go to the lake because we're going to go skinny dipping in the
So it
lake.
was even longer, yeah.
Yeah, so we went back down and then back around and kind of did the...
We backtracked for a
yeah.
while, yeah.
And then crisscrossed all the way down to the lake. And finally got to the lake, and that's where I skinny dipped.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of those places where it's like, are you supposed to be naked there?
Mm-hmm.
And you're out.
Very few people go down there, too.
Yeah, we're out in the middle of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the people on the peak, maybe with their binoculars, could have seen that, hey, I think that guy might not be wearing clothes.
But when you're in the water...
Yeah, but it's not
hard
like
to
I'm
say.
strutting around like...
Yeah.
It's like I stripped, I was swimming, splashing around. And then what was funny is when we were walking back up, there was that state for grizzly bear recovery or
that
wolf
game
or something.
camera.
A big state game camera. So
Yeah.
we stopped and took a picture and waved. And then on the way back up the switchbacks, there was a hippie girl that was coming down
Mm-hmm.
the switchback.
With her dog.
With her dog. And she was kind of like smiling and asked, oh, is the water cold? And she
Yeah.
asked it in a way like...
Yeah, you
Kinda-
vibed on that.
kind of cold.
Mm-hmm.
And she like shed her shirt after...
Oh, yeah.
The
She got naked, I think.
Yeah, she like stripped... If you're listening to this podcast, that was us.
We left a note, but you didn't reach out.
I was like, I think that's another naked hiker.
Yeah.
How cool is that? All nerding
Yeah.
out. But, yeah, so I was just impressed to see that another person, especially a female hiking alone,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that was cool to see.
Yeah, and just basing off like the trail condition, I'm assuming that trail does not get used very often. Like,
No.
we were kind of bushwhacking it a little bit, and there was a ton of berries just right along the side of the trail that's typically like picked from if it's popular. And so I was like, how cool is that? You know, look, I wonder if she had the same thoughts of like, okay, this is kind of an out of the way
Secluded.
spot, like it's really cool.
Yep.
Not a lot of people go down here, kind of thing.
And that fits the criteria.
Yeah.
Not a lot of human traffic. Out of the way. You're not causing problems. You're being respectful.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
And-
What were you going to say?
I was like, honestly, I wouldn't, just judging by the brief interactions we had with her, I honestly don't think it would have been weird if we were down there doing what
No.
we were doing and she also wanted
I
to
think
do it.
she would have just walked down and been like, what's up, guys?
Yeah.
And then
'Cause
hopped
it
in
was-
and done her thing. That was a long lake, too.
Yeah, I was just saying, it's way big enough that there were like coves, like where that big boulder was. We could have been
I think
over
you're right.
there. There was way, like a lot of opportunities to be away if we wanted that.
Yeah.
Or like as a community if that's what we wanted to.
So here's a question for you. When I went naked at that lake up in that high alpine
Mhm.
unit, Did that feel different than Tank Verde, or was that kind of the same kind of thing?
Yeah, no, I didn't feel weird. I'm like, yeah, that's what John does, like
Yeah,
it's kind
yeah.
of cool. And like I said, I've kind of like experimented a little bit since Tank Verde. So, yeah, it didn't like weird me out.
Gotcha.
hmm I think for me, just personally, like I live in a small town, and I also like my profession. I have to be wary of
Oh, absolutely.
how people might perceive the activities that I participate
Mm-hmm.
in, even if it's on my own time and not representing who I work for in any way.
Absolutely.
I still just need to be really wary of that. And so I think that does like add to apprehensions that I may have. You know, all it would take is like one complaint potentially.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
and not that there's anything to complain about or that anything I should be embarrassed about, but it's something that I also need to think about the general perception or the general attitude. Say if I was, practicing naturism and came across, again, I live in a small town and lots of benefits to that, but that's just something I need to be aware of as far as my image in public. And again, not that I think anything is wrong with it or anything people need to be embarrassed about. I'm not saying that at all. I just think for my position, I also need to think about like my public image as well. But growing up, like in my household as a kid, nudity was like never really talked about, never really seen.
Mm-hmm.
Although I have learned as an adult that my dad like sleeps naked every night and like hot tubs naked.
Oh,
And
interesting.
I think like him, and again my stepmom who's German, and she is like pretty open about it, but I never saw nudity growing up. I think like now as empty nesters, they are embracing that, which I think is cool. Just a
Oh,
side topic. But in why I was saying that is in our household now with me, my wife, and our two kids, like nudity is not something to be embarrassed of. Like my kids are naked all the time, basically. Like keeping clothes on them is wild. They're running naked in the backyard.
mm-hmm.
In our house, like while we may not all sit naked together and watch a movie,
Mm-hmm.
we are naked around each other, and it's not something to be embarrassed about. And I do want my children to grow up feeling very like positive
Yeah.
about their bodies, and we talk a lot about like, gosh, your body can do amazing things. Look, we were able to go to this mountain and your legs and your heart did that, and like your spirit, and how cool is that? And just really like celebrating them as individuals and what their body is, what it can do, and like how cool it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
We really want to that body positivity. We also talk about like health, right? And like,
Yep.
are we listening to our mouth or are we listening to our belly, and wanting to make healthy choices for our body, right? So it's a both. But yeah, I think like I'm naked outside sometimes in my backyard, which I think is really cool,
I think
especially
that's
like
really healthy.
on the sunny days. I really enjoy it. And again, like I'm barefoot a lot on hikes, but also just outside, and really seeing a lot of the benefit to that. And when I do my New Year's Day polar plunges, that's really fun because I kind of like, not all the way naked, but
Dude, you're a
pretty
wild
close.
man. You send me pictures every New Year's Day. I'm
Yeah,
like, he's back at it.
it's been kind of a fun thing. I just kind of came up with one year. I was like, into the energy and like resets and vibrations and all of that, and kind of just like, yeah. So it's cool. My family and I, we pick a new spot every year. Sometimes it's the ocean. Sometimes it's a almost frozen mountain lake. Sometimes it's a freezing cold river. But we'll find somewhere to hike to, and yeah, strip down and jump in and swim
That's
around and
awesome.
say Happy New Year. And this year was the first year that both my kids joined in,
Oh,
which was
cool.
really cool. Like, obviously, a little safer about their bodies and their body temperature, right? Like, keeping that in mind. They weren't naked. We had dry clothes for them and all of that, and they
Mm-hmm.
didn't stay in as long. Totally fine. I think it's really cool to see them. And last year, my eldest child wanted to, and we're like, I think you're a little too young yet, but next year, if you want to try it, let's do it. And of course, the younger one saw the older one doing it and had to get in on it too. So it's cool.
Raising them good, man.
Yeah, maybe one day my wife will jump in too, but she's pretty cold averse.
Yeah.
So maybe if we came down and did a Arizona New
There
Year's
you go.
Day
There you
polar
go.
plunge, maybe she'd be about it. But I think it's cool. It's just kind of a fun tradition now that my family and I have started, and I hope I'm able to do it for as long as I can.
Dude, that's awesome. Well, we're going to wrap it up. We've been going for a while now. I just want to say thank you so much for being here on this journey and for this recording today. You mean the world to me. You're a brother, and I'm super stoked that we get to share many more trails. Is there anything that you want to talk about, that we didn't talk about, or share any big plans you have for this next year or goals?
Yeah, I just want to say first, thank you. Totally echo what you just said. I'm super proud of you, and I support you in all of your endeavors. It's been so cool watching you grow and just really lean into who you are as a person, and discovering parts of you that you didn't know before. And it's really cool to be on this journey with you, even from afar. But it's cool being a part of it. And yeah, you have been such an inspiration to me, like I said, in my sobriety journey and getting outside and nature. And so just thank you. I hope we can do this again, and probably next time we'll have a lot more stories to share about. And yeah, I'm super thankful for you, and I love you, man. And
Love you too,
I'm
dude.
really excited for not only your future and what you're getting into next in your adventures, but hopefully we got a few more planned.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, what we were planning,
Killing it.
maybe get my family down here and do a whole family come together. That'd be fun.
That would be fun. I think your family would love it down here.
Maybe we can get into another bear hunt this year or something like that.
I
That'd be
would
cool.
like to make that happen.
Yeah.
The some of the views I've been with on your trips, on our hunting trips or
Mhm.
hiking trips, those views have been so breathtaking, and there's an element of wonder,
Mhm.
just awestruck. When we
Yeah.
did Mount Washington, I think that's what it's called, right?
Sure, we'll call it that.
Sure.
Yeah.
I can bleep it out if that's the actual name.
No, we're good.
I always
I know what you mean every time you say it.
misname things. So we have all these random names for places that we go hike and hunt. But yeah, we get up to the top, and it's a knife blade ridge that you're walking on,
Yeah.
looking down. If you trip and fall, you're just dead.
You're toast on the other side.
Yeah, you're dead before you even reach the bottom, for sure. But just amazing. And a lot of those trips, we didn't have the best gear. The first backpacking trip I went with Robert on, I had a big Coleman suitcase stove that I
Yes.
ended up leaving on the side of the trail.
I remember that.
I was like, well, we're just going to stay here. I'm not carrying this all the way up.
Uh-huh.
And my backpack was my sleeping bag was oversized, so I just hooked it around my arm. I'm amazed you let me go with you after that.
No, it was great. It was great. I was right there with you. Dude, it's cold tonight. That was, it was a snowstorm. Was it the first night we were there? The second, I can't remember, but the last night we were there, it snowed hard. And,
Yeah,
and when
it
we
was
got to the top,
freezing.
there was some snow on the ground, and we saw a bunch of animal prints. We're like, dude, there's bear print here. There's bear scat. Oh, dude, there's elk here. This is the best spot. We're in it. And we kept figuring, where are all these animals that were walking?
Yeah.
And we kind of surmised towards the end of it, oh, they knew this storm was coming. So
Yep,
they went
left.
down. We should have knew that too, but that was cold that night.
Yep.
And I've had a couple situations like that, even in September, freak snowstorms.
just
One
roll
night
in.
just rolls in. You go to bed and you wake up and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's freezing.
Yep.
So kind of that, and that's the interesting thing about backpacking is you got to kind of weigh out all your options, right? You can't bring everything in the kitchen sink because you're going to have to carry it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so really trying to find things that are multi-use items or what can I do away with while still being safe? Ultimately you want to get home. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
trying to die for a fish or a bear or anything,
No kidding.
I want to go home to my family and
Yep.
keep living. So, yeah, I think that's just part of the learning process too, of like figuring out what you need. Sometimes I'll make a list of like all of the things that I used
Yep.
on my trip and kind of see if there's like common denominators of things that I'm not using.
Yeah, and the shit you're not using, you take out.
Can this be a late season hunt thing or an early season hunt thing, whatever.
Yeah.
So,
Yep, no.
and that's just all part of it. But yeah, like I said, just super thankful for you, super proud of you. I love you immensely, and I'm super proud and thankful that the universe brought us together.
Dude, yeah, man.
Instagram, dude, just so random, like I met another guy through Instagram. Feels kind of weird saying it like that, but we hung out a couple times, had some things in common, both fathers, both kids.
Mm-hmm.
His kids were a little bit older, but we had a lot of the same like ethical viewpoints, and it just didn't work out, and that's kind of how life is, and I'm just super thankful that this all worked out.
Dude, yeah, me too.
And for the future.
Me too. You bet.
Heck yeah, dude.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah,
Many
thanks for
more
having
adventures. We're gonna do this again.
I hope so.
Down the road.
Yeah.
This was fun. I'll be a little more prepared. We won't do it outside where the neighbors and the cars and the planes are
No,
going
this
by.
is awesome. And if you're listening and you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button.
Yeah. Hit the subscribe button. Tell
That's
your
what they
friends.
say, right? Like,
Yeah. Leave if it feels right. Leave a review.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you're curious about naked hiking or backpacking, look into it, and if it feels right to you, do it. Go after it. Make sure that you're doing it safely and in a respectful manner. But yeah, there's plenty of spaces and places to try this out, and you don't have to do it perfectly. You just have to show up as yourself and be open to the experience.
Do it scared. Make stupid choices safely.
Do it scared. Yeah, so I'll leave you guys with that. Love you, Robert. Thank you again for being here. This was a great conversation.
Thanks for listening.
As I sit here kind of reflecting on this conversation, what really stands out isn't whether someone hikes naked or not. It's about honesty and trust and the experiences we all share in nature and in life, really. Robert and I have a unique friendship and a unique hiking relationship. When we're out on the trail together, I might choose to be naked and he might stay clothed. We each do what we're comfortable with, and it's never an issue. There's no pressure, no weirdness, and it's just a mutual respect and understanding. And honestly, that's what community looks like to me. We don't have to be identical to walk the same path. His openness and his willingness to be vulnerable and real, and his passion for public lands and outdoor spaces all shine through here. And that's something I value deeply, not just as a friend, but as someone who cares about how we show up in the outdoor community. This episode wasn't about nudity, and it wasn't about convincing anyone of anything. It's about connection to nature and to each other and the experience that shapes us. So wherever you are in your journey, whether you're stepping onto your first trail, or maybe you're just skeptical of nude recreation, or you could be really curious and thinking about pushing outside your comfort zone. Remember this. Listen to the place you're in. Respect the people you're with and anyone you might meet along the way. Stay open to what you might learn from someone else's experiences, no matter how different their background may be from your own. Again, thanks for joining us, and as always, get naked, be free, and be kind. See ya.